I want to come in here and tell a quick story, and then we can kind of, we're a small group here tonight, so we can kind of bounce around and help each other out in any way we can. Um, but here's my story. So those of you who've been following me that know that I started doing 75 hard. Today's day 72 of 75, and I got to tell you, it's literally been life altering. I knew I was going to come out of this different and change, but I didn't necessarily know where, what, and how. And about a year ago, I was like, yeah, I should probably do that. And I said, you know what? I like beer too much. I don't want to do it. And I said, I didn't have the mental fortitude at that point in time to do it flat out. So I committed because, just be completely transparent with everybody here, I put on the I put on the Corona 15-pound quarantine weight easily, maybe even 20 pounds. I mean, I was just sitting back, sucking beers back every night, and gyms closed and whatnot. It was kind of difficult, and I fell victim to the force of average massively. So it got to a point where I was like, you know what, dude, I feel disgusting. I don't feel right in my own body, and I decided to do something about it. So following people like Jessica Stroud, who was probably 10 or 15 or 20 days ahead of me at that point, she went in there and absolutely killed it. We got Carrie Craig over in the Entrepreneurs Program. She murdered it, and I think she's gone through the whole Live Hard program at this point, or maybe she's in phase 3. You got guys like Mark Zalmanoff, and they just influenced me to go out there and do more. Good old Drewby Wilson. I mean, the first time I met Drewby, he looks nothing like what he does today. All right, the dude's just an animal, and he's out there just doing crazy shit. His 100 or 200-mile bike rides on top of his 6 or 7-mile walks every morning. I mean, and the fact that he's doing it at like 4:30 in the morning just kills me, because at that point in time, I hate to break it to you guys, but I'm still sleeping. But all these things put together was like, all right, you know what? Tom's got the right people around him. He's got the right influence. And I said, you know what? It's time to take action here. I wasn't happy with how I was feeling, and I needed to do more. And I didn't want to come out on the backside of all this quarantine bullshit and be 20, 30, 40 pounds heavier than when I went in, and not have accomplished anything, not have used the time properly. That makes sense to you guys. I didn't want to wait, because we were given a gift, in my opinion. It may not have seemed that way to a lot of people, but I mean, my time definitely freed up courtesy of coronavirus, and couple that with money coming in from the government and actually getting rid of dead weight employees that were on my team. It was a blessing in disguise. And I didn't want to come out of that on a personal end of it, not being right either. So I jumped in, man. I jumped in heavy. You guys know that. I mean, I haven't shared my picks or my stats, which is going to come real soon, but I'm down about 22 pounds. And in a couple of days, I'll throw some pictures up on social media to show you guys the difference start to finish, but I definitely feel better. The whole reason I tell you that long-winded front end of the story here is because on about day 3 of 75 hard, I was smacked in the face by a massive I'll even call it a 2x6 of reality. And I've always been the kind of person who goes around and says, average sucks. Matter of fact, as you can see behind me, I got nothing on my shelves and whatnot because my house is all packed up. But I had here in my home office, and I looked at it every day. I had this big ass poster my wife bought me for my birthday about a year ago that says, "I refuse to be average." And I looked at it every day, and up until a week ago, I did. And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, boom, this thing hits me in the face, and I'm like, holy shit. I have been accepting average in all areas of life for way too long. My business, my personal finances, and not just my business Top Class, but also my personal brand, Thomas Keenan, just everything I was doing, my health, the quality of time I was spending with my kids. I was like, holy shit, it just hit me massively. And it started, first, listen, when we get hit with something as real as that, and we come to the realization, we're high performance individuals, people in this group. So first thing we do is beat the shit out of ourselves further. It's like, I was just mad at myself for not not doing what I knew I had to do and coming up with excuses upon excuses and so on and so forth. So about 2 years prior, I had started planting seeds with my wife that I was like, you know what? Hey, I want to get the fuck out of New York for various reasons. And I went through like a massive pros and cons list and had it all documented and showed her and said, hey, we get the hell out of here. Um, some of the benefits are, we're going to save money. We're going to have a better potential for raising our children or giving them a better chance at having a better life than we had. And I think that's what every parent on this planet wants. You have kids, you want them to have a better upbringing, a better life than you had. And typical fashion of my wife, I mean, she's just ride or die. I mean, she's with me and has been with me from day one. Anything that I want to do, if it listen, she'll kick back and say, hey, dickhead, that's not the right thing. But she saw the writing on the wall and she's like, all right, man, I got you. I'm with you. That was 2 years ago. So fast forward a year. So we'll go back to July of 2019. We go down to Dallas, Texas for Flying Friday. Let me shut that thing off. And we actually went down there because we were looking for homes, right? That was round one. Looking for homes, started driving around some of the neighborhoods, checking the places out. And again, the year happened, average happened, Corona happened, all this crap. I can come up with all the excuses in the world. Bottom line is that I did not take action when I should have, and it delayed my progress in multiple areas, right? So about, I guess, 24 to 48 hours after realizing this, I had that tough conversation with my wife again and said, hey, we've been sitting around jerking off here for a year and we never took action on what we said we were going to take action. And I think now it's time to take action. And she's like, all right, cool, let's roll. So with that being said, put my house on the market. Put my house on the market here in New York. And in 48 hours, it was sold to a cash buyer we put the house on the market for $450. It sold to a cash buyer in 48 hours for $485,000. So, which I never in a million years expected. So with that, and like that to me is just a sign. It's like, holy shit, all of these pieces are just laying out in the perfect succession. Everything's working. We got a ton of money came into all my companies from EIDL and PPP. We're sitting on a pile of cash over there, which is fantastic. And it came time to start telling family members that, hey, we're making a change here, right? And this is a change that's going to affect everybody. And listen, just to be 100% transparent with you guys, we have a close relationship with most of our family here, and they're very supportive of me and my wife. And listen, we got 3 kids, okay? I got a 6-year-old daughter, and I've got twins who are going to be 4 in September. And my kids are awesome, but at the same point in time, my wife needs a break on occasion, and she likes to take some time for herself. And before the whole fucking world closed down over here, she'd go get her nails done. She'd go to lunch. I'd go to meet her for lunch occasionally. And her mom, who happens to live a mile away from us, would watch the kids on occasion, right? So she's got a very close relationship with these people. And we had the tough duty, the tough task of having to go in and say, hey, mom and dad and my in-laws, we invited them over for dinner, told them, we're moving. And, we're not just moving a town away. We're not moving 3 towns away. We're moving about 2,200 miles away. And with that being said, they lost their shit. It was classic crabs in a bucket is basically what it was. Okay. You guys have been around a while, heard Ryan talking. He's not the only one who talks about it, but crabs in a bucket's basically you're trying to advance yourself, get better, do better things. And the average mentality is up behind you, clawing at you and bringing you back down to their level. So here we are trying to better ourselves, better our children, better our everything. I mean, I don't have to explain it to you guys. I mean, to me, it's just so fucking clear and apparent. But to them, it's not. To them, we're now the people who are breaking up the family. I'm the bad guy who is removing my wife, their daughter from them and their community and all the shit that they got going on. And to be quite clear with you guys, I thought that I was done with the whole crabs in a bucket scenario in my life. Okay. When I was younger and I started my first business, and I think I was like 21 at the time, I'd gone through it then. I'd gone through it at a different iteration as I got a little bit older. And I thought I was done. I thought I outgrew it. I had no idea, and nor did I expect any of this to come back and hit me here at the age of almost 41 years old. Being somewhat successful in my own eyes at what I'm doing, being respected in multiple communities, and just being out there trying to be the best person I possibly can be. I had no idea that this shit was going to hit us and affect us in the way that it did. And my in-laws right there were just the tip of the iceberg. Once my wife's sister, who she's also really close with, found out, it was it was like that situation times 10. I mean, she was just, it wasn't a cool situation. She didn't handle it correctly, in my opinion. And, really threw my wife for a good loop and, fuck with her head, to be quite honest with you. So my whole point of telling the story here is like, you know, I don't think that people like us, high performing individuals, will ever outgrow that. I don't want you guys to go out there and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to see crabs in a bucket ever again in my life, because I had no idea this was coming to get me. And that's usually the trick of the force of average. It comes in all shapes, sizes, and you have no idea how it's going to come and get you. Also, surrounding yourself with the right people so that you do get invited and called up to that table when your time is in. So I want to just let you guys know it's important. Keep your eyes out. Look for these kind of things and the signs in your life, that you may be having some stuff coming at you like this.